everyone, Mary Berger with Computer Diva here, and I'm coming to you from Computer Diva headquarters and on my magical workbench here where I fix and upgrade computers. So what are we doing today? What do I have on my workbench today? So I have this gorgeous 21.5-inch iMac. It was manufactured in early 2009, which makes it 6 years old. And amazingly, with the Mac, they just run and run forever. So the original specs on this iMac, it was an Intel Core 2 Duo processor, 2.66 gigahertz. It had 2 gigs of memory in it. And it was running OSX 10.5, which is labeled Leopard. So it's time to upgrade this iMac. In fact, it's way overdue. I usually suggest that people stay at least 1 or 2 versions behind what's currently out, unless you have an appetite for something new. But don't get yourself more than 2 versions behind on OSX. And I like to say that for Windows computers as well. So the first order of business that we had to do today was increase the RAM. And the RAM comes in these cool little chips. And in this computer, when I first started working on it, there were 2 of these 1 gigabyte chips, making it a max of 2 gigabytes of RAM. Well, the latest version of OSX 10.10 Yosemite, there's no way it's going to run efficiently with 2 gigs of RAM. So we had to purchase 2 more gigs of RAM. We got 2 of the 4 gig chips, and they go down at the bottom of the computer here. If we unplug the computer, power it down, unplug it, make sure there's no power to it, and we just undo one little screw here on the bottom. We pop out the old chips, we pop in the new chips. Couldn't be easier. Once we got that done, we plugged the power source back into this, booted it up, and it was now running with 8 gigs of memory, or RAM. Memory and RAM are the same. So a great performance hit in this computer. And once we were done with that, then we were ready to upgrade to OSX 10.10. But there's a specific path that you have to use if you're currently on 10.5, which is what this computer was on. So the path that we had to use was we first had to get ourselves a copy of OSX 10.6, which is Snow Leopard. You can't go from 10.5 to 10.10 directly. You have to go to Snow Leopard first, which brought us to 10.6.6. From that point, we actually had to go into the computer here. We had to have it check for updates. We downloaded all the latest updates. There were probably about 12 of them, which brought us to 10.6.8. Once we're on 10.6.8 of Snow Leopard, then it's really simple for us to actually go into the App Store, which is down here on the dock. I know you probably can't see this icon, but 10.6.8 was when the App Store actually came into play for Microsoft. So I had to actually create for Apple. So I actually had to create an Apple ID for this computer because it didn't have a need for one before. I created the Apple ID, I went into the software update, and I downloaded the OSX 10.10. It has been downloaded, and it's ready for me to reboot. So I'm going to go ahead and reboot this computer, and I'm going to catch you on the other side once it's done rebooting. See you in a few. Hey everyone, Mary Berger here. Obviously, based on how I'm dressed and how the computer looks, it's now the next day. I rebooted the computer, and it then went through the installation process of the OSX 10.10, which is called Yosemite, and then it rebooted again, and I had to run out and do a few appointments and get a little glammed on my nails. So what is a diva without a little bit of glam now and then? So it is now the next day, and the computer is back up and running, and a few things happened. After the computer itself was updated and it rebooted, we then went through the process again of downloading all of the updates, which included updates to Pages, Numbers, and Keynote. So those are all up to date, the very latest versions, and the computer is now ready to go back to the customer. A couple of other things that I have done with the computer, and we're going to go off the subject of technology for just a little bit of a minute here. And I'm going to talk to you about a couple of things that I do energetically for computers to kind of give them a boost in their energy levels. I know it sounds weird, but this is what I do. So one of the things I do is I always have a couple of Sodalite stones with me, and anytime I'm working on a computer here in my workshop, I always have at least one of these stones sitting right at the base of the monitor or on top of the laptop. These are called Sodalite stones. Let me get this up here. And basically, Sodalite stones are able to absorb the electromagnetic energy of the computers. So as that energy is flowing off the computers, it is absorbed by the Sodalite stones so that you're not absorbing that energy. On the reverse effect, I truly believe that these stones also have the capability of absorbing your negative energy so that it's not projected into the computer. So it's kind of a two-way street, and it all depends on how you intend to use these stones if you use them, and I use them for both directions. I notice with a lot of my customers that it's really handy to have these stones while I'm working on their computers, because some of these customers may be a little anxious when they're working with their computer, and it really helps to have this stone sitting by so that anxiety over, the fact that the computer is not working correctly isn't kind of absorbed back into the computer. So I use these pretty heavily. The other thing I typically do with computers is kind of an energetic transfer of energy. And I recently took a Reiki 1 class with a Reiki master. And basically, Reiki is used for energetic healing. And the Reiki master gave me my first attunement, my first Reiki attunement. Basically, that means that she kind of adjusted my energy by using Reiki energy, which allows me then to invoke the Reiki energy, which flows through me and can flow out through my hands into, basically it's used on people, but I am practicing the use of this Reiki energy on computers and technology. And I've seen some pretty interesting results. It's worked out really well for me. So I usually try and do that with each computer I work on, just kind of pass out some positive energy to those computers so that they hum along nicely. So with that said, that's kind of the end of this video. That brings you up to speed on how to do an OSX 10.5 to 10.10 upgrade with a little bit of extra memory in the computer and a little bit of extras with the Sodalite stones and the Reiki energy. So if you have any questions at all for me, you can always leave a comment down below. And my email address is mary@computerdiva.biz, and I look forward to hearing from you all and working with as many of you as I possibly can. Have a great day. Bye-bye.